Welcome back, America. We're here with the fantastic senator from Arkansas, Senator Tom Cotton. Serves on the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senate Judiciary Committee, Senate Intelligence Committee. Those are important committees. Served in the United States Armed Forces in parts of the world that we talk about all the time. Senator Cotton, Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken, through his secret shuttle diplomacy, seem to be organizing opposition to Israel, Israel's ability to defend itself, Israel's ability to conduct war and crush Hamas, Israel's ability to finally clean out the Gaza Strip. They're talking about a two-state solution where Israel would lose a major chunk of its country, Judea and Samaria, its historic homeland. What the hell is going on here?
Well, Mark, exactly as you and I predicted, as far back as probably October 8th, Joe Biden seems to put more pressure on Israel than he puts on Hamas, which just committed the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. As we predicted, President Biden has been sounding notes of restraint and caution and implying that Israel is committing war crimes or indiscriminately bombing civilian areas, when in fact the Israeli Defense Forces is taking absolutely necessary military action to destroy Hamas, not just as a terrorist entity, but as a governing authority and a social movement. What we should do is back Israel to the hilt. They don't need patronizing lectures about the laws of war. They don't need President Biden threatening to impose conditions on aid to Israel, as Democrats here in the Senate, like Bernie Sanders, are doing. They need time and freedom of action to complete this military operation in the Gaza Strip to once and for all destroy Hamas.
You know, Senator Cotton, it's very troubling to me. It's really only in our history with the state of Israel since its founding that there's really two presidencies that seem to undermine that country. One is Obama, one is Biden, and they have virtually exactly the same foreign policy and national security people advising them. They are appeasers when it comes to Iran. They're rearming Iran. Billions are pouring into Iran. And the only pressure they seem to be placing on any country or any people in the Middle East are our allies, Israel. Do they not want Israel to win? Are they afraid if Israel wins, they can't then have their two-state solution and carve up that country? Is that what's going on here?
Well, Mark, I think you're right on a couple of important points there. One, to focus on the Obama-Biden policy in the Middle East, because it's almost the exact same people implementing the policy that Barack Obama started 14 years ago. And two, to focus on Iran. You cannot understand what happened on October 7th or anything else in the broader Middle East without focusing on Iran, because Hamas is a proxy for Iran. It's largely funded by Iran, armed by Iran, trained by Iran. That's the same as Hezbollah or these rebels in Yemen who are shooting ballistic missiles and drones at Israel, or militia groups in Iraq and Syria that are targeting our forces. But from 2009 forward, under Barack Obama first and now Joe Biden, the Democratic Party's Middle East policy has been to elevate Iran and to empower Iran, in part because of Barack Obama's delusional ideological beliefs that it's the United States to blame for the tensions our country has had with Iran going back to 1979. Not the crazed Ayatollahs who took Americans hostage and held them for more than 400 days, and have been killing Americans in various ways and places ever since. But Barack Obama believed it was Iran that was faulted by the United States. And he kind of turned the Middle East into an extension of American partisan politics, that if you opposed Iran, whether you were Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel or Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia or Mohammed bin Zayed or the United Emirates, then you were by extension part of the red jersey team. You were a Republican opposed to Barack Obama, and that's the same ideology that Joe Biden now has as well. And you cannot find a single way, not a single way, Mark, that Joe Biden has changed his and Barack Obama's Iran policy from October 7th. This heinous attack has not changed a single thing. They're continuing to waive sanctions. They're continuing to pay off the Ayatollahs. They're continuing to look the other way on attacks by Iranian proxies on American troops. It is the height of folly, and it's going to lead to a mass casualty attack against Americans in the Middle East, not just empowering terrorist proxies to attack Israel.
Senator Cotton, I'm greatly concerned that these guys are running foreign policy out of a dark room. In other words, they're not making their obvious juxtaposition now. They're not making it as part of the Biden doctrine. They're not involving you folks in the Senate or people in the House. They're working through leaks to their favorite news operations, their favorite columnists and newspaper writers. They are conducting secret shuttle diplomacy with some of our enemies and Arab countries. They're using backdoors to talk to Iran. They're using Qatar to talk to Hamas. I mean, how much of this is transparent? What is their end game? Do they not involve the rest of the United States government? They certainly are not informing the American people of exactly what they're doing. And as you point out, the consequences here are going to be enormously grave.
Almost none of it is transparent, Mark. And that's exactly what Barack Obama did as well. Today's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, back in the Obama era, he was dispatched secretly to Oman to talk to the Ayatollahs to try to start the negotiations that ultimately led to the disastrous nuclear deal. It's the same people conducting the same policy, again, totally cloaked in secrecy, not even sharing it with Democrats in Congress because they know that policy is so unpopular with Americans. Appeasing the Ayatollahs, who have been kidnapping and beating and murdering Americans and our ally citizens since 1979 is massively unpopular. That's why they conduct it in secret until they can spring it as a fait accompli on the American people. I think the American people are going to have a thing or two to say about that next year in the election, though.
We'll be right back.